Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.
Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies, inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Look into my eye.
Welcome to Wake Up Heavy, the world's greatest horror movie podcast. In this episode, my weird dad will be talking about
It's okay, it's all right, you're safe here. I'm a psychiatrist. Can you tell me what happened? Can you tell me your name? How are you feeling?
What's happening?
Oh, I've got a bad feeling about this one. Is the doctor coming?
Did you see his eyes? Hey, what are you doing?
What's the matter? What are you afraid
You
of?
can't go in there. Stop! Stop!
The sender, his nightmare, will become your reality. Coming soon from Paramount Pictures.
Hello and welcome back to Wake Up Heavy Recollections of Horror. This is Mark Begley, your host, and it is August 2020, and I'm getting back into recording regular episodes. This is Why Didn't I Rent This? Volume 4, Episode 2, on the 1982 horror film The Cinder. The Cinder was directed by Roger Christian and stars Zeljko Ivanek as the Cinder, Kathryn Harrold as Dr. Gail Farmer, and Shirley Knight as Jerolyn. 2 years before Freddy terrorized the kids on Elm Street, John Doe 83 would project the power of his dreams onto the patients and staff of a mental hospital in the town of Corinth. If you have been following along with the Why Didn't I Rent This series, you know that most of those are movies that I would see on a regular basis and for whatever reason just never rented. A lot of times they seemed a little too sketchy for me or maybe a little too salacious, so I passed on them. The last episode I did was on Visiting Hours, which I thought I hadn't seen, but actually had. And this is the opposite of that. This is a movie that I actually thought I had seen, but as I was watching it, I quickly realized, no memories happening here. I have never seen this. But I had been doing my regular searches for it, and I'm trying to think of what brought it into my head in the first place, and I have a feeling it was because of my constant searching for the Sentinel, which I am still waiting to have show up on a streaming service somewhere. It's playing on Hoopla currently, which our library doesn't have, even though it offers Canopy. So I kept seeing the poster image and thinking, oh yeah, I remember this movie. And apparently I just remember the poster image. Luckily, it showed up streaming on a number of different services back in either March or early April. I know the first time I watched it was April 2nd of this year, very shortly after we started lockdown here. So, of course, I jumped on the chance to see it and really, really enjoyed it. So we have John Doe 83, as our Cinder is called in the mental hospital. At the beginning of the film, he tries to commit suicide by walking into a lake with rocks in his pockets and jacket. He ends up in the mental hospital where Dr. Gail Farmer instantly sympathizes with him. John Doe's mother, Jerolyn, has convinced her son that his was a virgin birth and keeps him locked up at home in fear he will leave her.
You said I had a father.
Did he leave you? Or die?
I never had a father.
Like Jesus.
That's right. Like Jesus.
The Cinder can telepathically transmit dreams into others, which causes the receiver to hallucinate. I think it's been duly noted over the last 59 or so episodes that I am a fan of dream imagery in films. It leads to a feeling of surrealism that I really enjoy, and that is the case here. I made mention of Nightmare on Elm Street at the beginning. This predates that by 2 years, and it's a very different kind of scenario. We don't have someone inserting himself into other people's dreams. He is actually projecting his dreams onto other people. And it took me a minute to kind of realize that as I was watching it the first time and thinking, oh, this is interesting. I wonder if Wes Craven saw this, blah, blah, blah. But it is not the same kind of scenario at all. So because of his mother, the Cinder has a bit of a messiah complex, which is unfortunate for him because there is another messiah at the mental hospital who thinks that John Doe 83 is trying to decapitate him. We have a religious zealot mother a la Carrie, and tons of different hallucinations. We have roaches, rats, cracking and bleeding mirrors, which is one of my favorite scenes. Defenestration, hey, one of my favorite words, and another really cool scene that I don't want to get into. I'm going to make this very brief today, and since this is very widely available, I'm really just hoping that you'll go out and watch it. The bleeding mirror scene, the defenestration, and yes, there is a decapitation scene. Those are my top 3 scenes for the film. And then there's also a bit of that fiddling around with the film that adds that dreamlike quality. There is a scene where John Doe is speaking to another patient, this Vietnam vet who thinks the war is not over, and runs through the hallways of the hospital very quickly and ends up back in their sleeping quarters. And that same Vietnam vet is laying on the bed, and this strikes me as odd. I don't think I noticed it the first time I watched it, but that's obviously some re-editing going on. It very well could be an intentional goof to lend that surreal quality. Whether it was intentional or not, it does do that. And that's the kind of thing that, like in Phantasm, adds just that extra note of strangeness and disjointedness that I love in movies. You could go the opposite way and say, well, that's a big mistake. He was just in another part of the building and kind of write off the scene and the film. But I love that kind of stuff. So one specific little touch that I wanted to point out without spoiling it is with John Doe's mother. Pay close attention to her when she is in a scene and just kind of note the air around her, and that's as specific as I want to be. It's a nice little touch that I did not catch on to until the very end of my second watch of the film, but it is one of those nice little things that elevates the movie a bit for me. Along with the interesting imagery, we have a very interesting cast and crew for this film. A lot of first-time appearances for people that you would see for decades later. This was Roger Christian's directorial debut. He had previously done the set direction for Star Wars, for which he had won the Academy Award. He also did art direction for Alien and Monty Python's The Life of Brian, and he would go on to direct the modern classic Battlefield Earth. He is one of a number of Lucasfilm connections amongst the cast and crew, which I found fascinating. The score is by Trevor Jones, whose credits include Excalibur, The Dark Crystal, Labyrinth, and one of my all-time favorites, Angel Heart. Kathryn Harrold was in Modern Romance, Raw Deal, Into the Night, Nightwing, and I remember her from, since I'm an old man, The Rockford Files. Zeljko Ivanek, and I'm going to apologize right now if I mispronounced his name, should be very well known to just about anybody listening to this episode. He has been on a gazillion TV shows and movies since 1982. This was his first film role. He had done, I think, a couple of TV episodes and one uncredited film before this. His credit is listed as "and introducing" for The Cinder. Much like our buddy Glenn Morshower from Dead and Buried, this is one of those guys that if you need someone to play a bureaucratic asshole, Zeljko is your man. He has been in Murder, She Wrote, The X-Files, The Homicide, Life on the Streets, and Law and Order universe, 24, just all kinds. Usually plays like a DA or some bureaucratic asshole. Shirley Knight had been acting since the late 1950s and was in tons and tons of 60s and 70s TV shows and TV films. She has also appeared on Murder, She Wrote and the Law and Order universe. Oddly enough, she passed away in April of this year, right around the time that the movie became available on streaming. Paul Freeman, who stars as Dr. Denman, played Bellick in Raiders of the Lost Ark, which, when we get to my movie watching and my daughter and my movie watching, you will see as something that we hit during the last month. The year prior to Raiders, he was in Dogs of War, which I mentioned on a previous episode, one of the Notes from Home episodes. Angus MacInnes is in this briefly. He is another Star Wars connection. He was Gold Leader in Star Wars, and I think he has a little voice cameo in Rogue One as Gold Leader. He's been in a very interesting array of films, including Strange Brew, Atlantic City, Eyes Wide Shut, and what I mainly remember him from, Witness. Another bit player is Manning Redwood. Wow, that is a name. He plays the sheriff, much like his other notable role as Forest Ranger 2 in The Shining. He was in 2 different Bond movies as different characters, and Outland with Sean Connery, and also Angus MacInnes. And then we have Al Matthews as the Vietnam vet who believes the conflict is not over. He may be most well known for his role as Sergeant Apone in Aliens.
All right, sweethearts, what are you waiting for? Breakfast in bed? Another glorious day in the Corps. Day in the Marine Corps is like a day on the farm. Every meal's a banquet. Every paycheck a fortune. Every formation a parade. I love the Corps.
Man, this floor is freezing.
What do you want me to do, fetch your slippers for you?
Gee, would you, sir? I'd like that.
Look into my eye.
Let's turn to the Psychedelic Encyclopedia of Film.
That doesn't sound right.
For his little write-up. The Cinder, 1982, Paramount, England. Producer, Edward S. Feldman. Director, Roger Christian. Screenwriter, Thomas Baum. A superior shocker that got lost amid the glut of early 80s slasher films and big buck fantasies. Yugoslavian-born Zeljko Ivanek plays a young mental hospital patient known only as John Doe. He has a mysterious link with his ghostly mother, Shirley Knight, and the uncontrollable ability to make others experience his nightmares. Visions of rats, roaches, flames, and more unusual horrors are experienced without lasting physical harm. Kathryn Harrold, yes, Giorgio, is a sympathetic doctor trying to remain rational while helping the troubled patient. A British production partially filmed in Atlanta, Georgia. Director Christian did art direction on Alien and set direction for Star Wars. Rated R. As mentioned, this is streaming on Epix. If you have Xfinity, I think you have Epix. We got it without signing up for it. It's on Amazon Prime for free and Hulu. So if you have any of those, check it out. And yes, I am still working on getting my brain around the Angel Heart, Barfly, Mickey Rourke double feature episodes. I missed a golden opportunity last week because it was the 100th birthday of Charles Bukowski on the 7th. And also, unfortunately, Alan Parker, the director of Angel Heart, passed away. Didn't know, of course, about Alan Parker's upcoming demise, but I did know about Bukowski's birthday. Just wanted to interrupt with a quick correction or two corrections. I was going to let one of them slide, but I realized that Bukowski's birthday is actually August 16th, 1920, so it's still coming up. I still don't have time to do those episodes. And I obviously misspoke and said the psychedelic encyclopedia film when I meant the psychotronic encyclopedia film. Back to the show. There's a new documentary coming out from, I think, Kino Lorber on Bukowski, some old interviews with an Italian journalist that I think I've seen clips from in the Bukowski Born Into This documentary from a while back. And that made me think, oh, crap, birthday coming up, missed my chance. Oh, well, those will come out when they come out. Just wasn't ready to try and rush through all of that just to hit that date. I do have that stuff cooking up with Mike White for our Cronenberg double feature, which is going to be good stuff. I am very excited about doing those 2 episodes. So for first time notable watches for me in the month of July, I have 2 new films, 2 aquatic horror films that both released around the same time. The Beach House, which is on Shudder, and Sea Fever on Hulu. I preferred, if I was going to do a battle royale with those 2, I think I would go with the Beach House. It just hit more of my particular taste. They're both pretty good though. And then the Neverending Story, which I had never seen, and that was a watch with Cleo, and I was absolutely blown away by the special effects in that film. It is a great movie, and I believe it was on HBO Max. And then I had a strange confluence of incidents which brought me to a movie that I had been looking for a while. I was going through the extras on the Criterion disc for The Brood that Mike White had sent over, and there was an interview with Cindy Hines, who plays the daughter in that film. It was made mention of another film she was in shortly after The Brood called Deadline, and this is something I've been looking for a while. I heard it was about a horror writer struggling to come up with his latest either book or script. I did my little search for it, found it, and started watching it, and didn't finish it. The next day, I was reading the almost 700-page book on The Brood that Mike had sent over. The movie is discussed in some detail in that in relation to David Cronenberg. The movie kind of riffs on Stephen King as well. And so then I finished the film, and it is something else. It is a drama, a marital drama, not unlike The Brood. And there are some really amazing special effects set pieces throughout based on his books and or screenplays and or movies. They're kind of interspersed throughout without any real explanation as to whether this is what it is. And so very strange, kind of a downer of a film, but as it relates to Cronenberg and The Brood and that, it was all very fascinating. So you might have to dig a little deeper to find that one, but worth a look at least. And then my absolute favorite watch of July was through Mike White's Friday night cast party a few weeks back, and this was The Boxer's Omen, another film that I had been looking for a long time. This is a Shaw Brothers horror film, and it is insane. I highly recommend you find it and watch it and have your mind properly blown. So movie watches with Cleo, we kind of continued our trend of the summer of Spielberg with either films he directed or produced. And we hit The Goonies, Gremlins, Poltergeist, E.T., Back to the Future, and Raiders of the Lost Ark. We hit the horror light or horror adjacent films, The Witches, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, The Birds, The Plague Dogs, although that's not really horror, it's just more depressing. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, which was a rewatch, but there's some pretty creepy stuff in that. And then a couple of Disney films, The Black Cauldron and The Black Hole. And The Black Cauldron was interesting. The Black Hole is a notorious mess. Some of the lighter fare that we watched, I introduced her to Raising Arizona, the aforementioned Neverending Story. We rewatched The Fantastic Mr. Fox, and we gave a shot to The Flight of the Navigator, which is super 80s and super cheesy. Through all this movie watching that we've had a couple actors pop up in more than one film, and with the Jurassic Park movies and a couple others that I can't think of, we have seen Jeff Goldblum in a number of movies. And all the way back to the time when we watched Alien, we have caught Veronica Cartwright in a ton of movies. So she was in The Birds, Flight of the Navigator, and they were both in, of course, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. So it was nice to see those two threads converge in that one film. That just about does it for this episode of Wake Up Heavy, the Why Didn't I Rent This series. And one last note on The Cinder, there is one piece of trivia on IMDb for the movie, and it is simply that apparently this is Quentin Tarantino's favorite horror movie from 1982, so if that bears any weight on what you watch, then give it a go. Alright, thank you so much for tuning in. I promised to keep this one short, and I have kept that promise for once. Who knows? Maybe that Mickey Rourke stuff will get done in August. If not, I will see you in September and definitely in October with the Cronenberg crossover event with Mike White and the Projection Booth. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to Wake Up Heavy on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform. And remember,
Anything can happen when you wake up heavy. Ho, 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 ho.